Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Ukraine update here with the Shills. We got a couple people that are late, a couple that are just lost in the ether. I don't know. Do you know? Starsky knows. Cue the music for the headlines.
Hello, my friends. Operator Starsky here. As always, it's so cool to see you guys. And tonight, Russians had really bad sleep, specifically in Kursk, Lipetsk, Voronezh, and Belgorod oblasts of the Terrorist Federation. I'm not sure, was it because of, like sunstorms, or was it because something was constantly exploding outside all night? But we know that Ukrainian flying objects were hitting Russian military targets in those areas, not only military targets, but also, refineries, because this is the trend of this year, as we probably know. Also, today, a Russian Su-25 attack aircraft was shot down by brave guys from 110th Brigade. Yeah, and I think it happened. Damn it! They never say like the specific location, but I think that tomorrow in the reports from the general staff we will see this update reflected as well. We also know that currently Russians are having, like Russian propagandists are having this orgy together with Konashenko, the spokesman for the Russian Defense Ministry, also known as Ministry of Stolen Toilets, also known as Ministry of American Biolabs and Genetically Modified Ducks, trained to kill Russian people. And they are saying that they already took like Kharkiv and, half Ukraine and stuff like that. Of course, they cannot prove anything. And according to the Institute for Studying Warfare, currently Russian troops are located approximately 30 kilometers away from Kharkiv, which is not too far, unfortunately. But at the same time, 40 to 50,000 men that are located there are not enough to take control over the city, which, just to remind you, is, I believe it's bigger than Kyiv, actually. And at some point during the Soviet times, Kharkiv was a capital of Ukrainian Soviet Republic. So it's a big ass city, guys. You gotta understand this, with like millions of people, the size of Washington, probably, maybe bigger. And in 2022, Russians brought approximately 150,000 men to take Kyiv, and they failed. So, according to the Institute for Study and Warfare, those reserves, they are not strategic reserves. The Russians don't have them to take control over Kharkiv. What they can do, though, is constantly attack the city with gliding bombs and S-300, S-400 missiles, and all kinds of long-range weapons, and distract the attention of Ukrainian defenders from other directions at the front line. Which unfortunately we can see works, because house after house in Kharkiv basically turn into ruins together with the residents. It's crazy what happens there right now. But despite all their efforts, I'm sure they cannot do anything. And the guys at the ground that are located there, and at the moment they say that Ukrainian defenders are basically giving Russians hell at this very moment, and they cannot do anything. But of course, Russian command wants to receive some medal or two from Putin, also known as Huilo around the world, and that's why they are feeding him and the Russian population with fakes that cannot be confirmed.
Yeah.
What can be confirmed, though, is that according to the monitoring of open sources, as of this day, 4,083 Russian officers were demobilized in Ukraine. 4,083 Russian officers, ranking from second lieutenant to general, were eliminated, which is freaking a lot. 4,000 men is like it's like 2 brigades, I think.
It's a small town.
Yeah, it's a small town, but I would never visit it without a flamethrower. And also today, the ruling parties in Germany, the Green Party and Free Democrats, call, as well as oppositionists, which, it's amazing when German members of the German government show such great cooperation, and like it doesn't happen often. I would love to see that in the US, for example. They all called the NATO countries to protect the Western Ukraine from the Russian missile strikes. So they are calling NATO countries to use their air defense systems. Apparently, they want to base them in Poland, and they want to use them to protect Western Ukraine from the Russian aviation strikes. It's very, very important because Western Ukraine is the area where where we have our connection with European countries, with our allies. All kinds of military supplies come through Western Ukraine to the front lines. This is why it's very, very crucial to protect this part from the Russian strikes. And there's also a lot of Ukrainian refugees, everybody who had to move out of their homes in places like Mariupol, in Donetsk Oblast, in Luhansk Oblast. A lot of those families, like thousands of those families, they moved to Western Ukraine, and this is where they are currently situated. So will it happen? I have no idea, but the Party of Green, and specifically Agnieszka Brugger, said that it would be very, very right thing to do to locate the air defense systems that would be able to protect western borders of Ukraine, and also her party mate, co-party man. I don't know, the representative of the same party. Anton Goffreiter said that we should not exclude the possibility of anti-air systems to be installed at the territories of Poland and Romania in the closest perspective, which I think is absolutely beautiful. And I really, really hope that it happens for real very soon.
Did you also hear, Starsky, David Cameron there, foreign guy, UK, former prime minister there? He finally came out and said publicly, Ukraine can use whatever we give them to hit whatever targets they want in Russia or elsewhere. They're fine. Like it took too long, but the more and more this is becoming the prevailing message from people that are sending support over to Ukraine. Never mind our rhetoric from before. Just hit them where it hurts.
Yeah, absolutely. And this statement provoked insane reaction in Russia.
Yeah.
Oh my God, their asses were burning so hard. So the weather improved even here in Germany.
Yeah, they pulled out the nuke threats instantly, the whole bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So they launched the nuclear exercises, and basically we can say that yes, they used their nuclear weapons properly this time, because they scared the shit, or at least attempted to scare the shit out of people. And they also installed this exhibition. I don't know how to call it, like exhibition in Moscow, showcasing captured Western equipment, the Abrams tank and several BTRs and things like that, which was kind of overdue, very, very much, because in Ukraine, in Poland, in Czech Republic, in Germany, in Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, we were having those exhibitions with Russian destroyed equipment since 2022, actually. And in 2022 and in 2023, we had so-called Russian parades on Khreshchatyk, the main street in Kiev, where Russian tanks, fortunately, they were stationary, they were installed there, and we had something like 80 tanks located on Khreshchatyk. Not only tanks, also Buk anti-air system, also Sansepyok TOS, this Russian thermobaric multiple launch rocket system, and many, many other things. So it took them like 2 years to finally come up with something like that, which I think was absolutely ridiculous. And with that, what they wanted to show was they wanted to show their citizens, first of all, that they are fighting against the whole world populated by Nazi countries, Nazi UK, Nazi Australia, Nazi USA, Nazi Canada, Nazi France, German, of course, Nazi Germany, that want to destroy Russia, and Russia is protecting the world against, I don't know, probably the world itself, the Nazi world, and what they also what they also wanted to show was that they have like indestructible, invulnerable Russian army that can capture whatever tanks they can, whatever equipment, and destroy everybody, and basically they cannot be stopped. So this is the like two main narratives, the external and internally targeted narratives that they were spreading for like a whole week.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, in Moscovia, the insecurity and the psychological projection. I mean, you see it so often that eventually it's almost like we all expect it. It almost becomes normalized in your mind when dealing with any kind of propaganda that comes out of there. But yeah, it just never seems to change. Exactly as you said.
Yeah, absolutely. And one interesting thing was the other day I made a stream regarding this exhibition in Moscow, and we talked about the tank that was installed in Berlin. It was a very interesting story because in 2022, local authorities in Berlin rejected the inquiry, the effort to have this exhibition in Berlin for whatever reason. But in 2023, they agreed. And there was this tank that was brought from, I believe, territory around Irpin or Bucha. It was brought by several persons that were in that very area, and what they saw was like this Russian tank. It was destroyed, but Russians, they have this hobby of, whatever car they have or whatever tank they have, they always write this "Na Berlin," which means "on to Berlin," and they have like their Ladas, their whatever car they have, like they usually say like "on to Berlin," we can repeat, and there's like always like this red star in shit. And on this tank there was this inscription, not Berlin. And they thought, well, they wanted to go to Berlin, let's do it and let's bring this tank to Berlin. So they brought this tank to Berlin and installed it in front of the Russian embassy in Berlin.
I like that.
Wow.
I like that. Commander, any thoughts over there? You're almost scarily quiet, like he's just going to explode.
No. The only thing I would add to all this is the Russians, I think, are making a concerted push right now because they know there's a narrow time window that they can have a good chance of making some progress, because once the aid packages, both from the EU and the US, start arriving in force, it makes that pretty much
change the game.
Yeah, it's going to make it very impractical and very costly to keep going. So I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing this new front that opened up in the Kharkiv region. We're seeing some of these massive drone and missile bombardment raids that are going on. They're trying to, make hay while the sun shines, so to speak.
Yes, and I'm really glad you. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm really glad that you bring that up also about the Kharkiv front and the Russians, renewing their offensive in that direction, because one thing I actually wanted to, I guess, ask both you and Starsky is what I'm noticing is, because, they're not stupid enough that they're trying to do a direct assault in the direction of Kiev. They're kind of trying to get what they can there in the Kharkiv area, right next to Belgorod, if I'm not mistaken. And so with this narrow time window, I don't think they're expecting like a giant breakthrough to take a huge swath of territory. But the fact that it's right there specifically, and there's been all the incursions into Belgorod by, various different groups, but specifically the Freedom of Russia Legion, and the Russian Volunteer Corps. So for anyone unfamiliar, these are groups that are Russians who either defected or just never were part of the Russian military, just various ethnic Russians from Russia who left and joined these groups and fight alongside Ukrainians. Do you guys think that, excuse me, what we're seeing right now is an attempt to make a buffer zone to prevent that out of fear of more political instability in the Belgorod region?
Possibly. I don't know if I'd say there's so much instability there. I think that's the area they're targeting simply because it's near the border. That's where they're located. To me, the idea of trying to put in a buffer zone, I think that's pretty much along the entire front, to be honest. And I think it's because they're beginning to realize that the end of the war is only going to come through negotiations. It's not going to be a victory on the battlefield. So they want to capitalize on it and make as many gains as they can so they can use that as a bargaining chip in whatever subsequent negotiations might come to light.
Yeah, I completely agree with the commander. I believe that they are trying to stretch our defense and distract us from other directions at the front line. Bakhmut, Avdiivka direction, Zaporizhia, and Kherson, of course. And they're trying to gain as much territory as possible because, again, soon there will be this big meeting in, Switzerland, right? I believe that apparently some of the Russian representatives will be invited there too. And who knows, maybe there will be like the beginning of negotiations. Maybe it will start there. We don't know. I have no information about this. But what we know is that negotiations are apparently coming, and apparently there is no other way to finish, to at least stop this war. So we will see, though. But regardless of the result, I believe that nobody will remove sanctions from Russia until it occupies internationally recognized borders of Ukraine. Nobody will remove the arrest warrant from Putin because he's a war criminal. And the person that was responsible for their internal policy regarding kidnapping Ukrainian kids. So one way or another, Putin, I cannot say that he won because he took like several pieces of territory. And again, I'm a bad prophet, so we will see what happens.
Yeah.
Here's another thought that. Oh, you go ahead, Nick.
Well, continue on, because then I've got some shout outs and stuff to do that's just going to train wreck everything. So continue on.
I was just going to say, yeah, and whenever negotiations do occur, one thing that I'm expecting, but I'm not going to make any predictions. I don't know for certain. However this ends up, the government of Ukraine isn't going to, even in negotiations say, oh, okay, yeah, no, this land is, recognized as part of this illegal federation in Russia. I imagine there'd be a ceasefire. I imagine there'd be something along the lines of how there's peace, but there's still major disagreement, whether it's, the China-Taiwan situation, Moldova, Transnistria, the situation with Abkhazia and South Ossetia in Republic of Georgia. There's a similar situation to that. And what we see with those situations, with pretty much all of them, is it's been sitting for a while, but several of them are very, there's a very strong possibility of war resuming. Even after years ago, there were negotiations to end conflicts related to all of that, all those situations, especially in Georgia and Taiwan, I would say. So my thought on this is, even if there is a negotiation and an end to the current war, where are things going to stand in 10 years, in 20 years? What is the probability of a new war cropping up in the next generation or so?
I would say that the probability is 100%, unless somebody changes Putin, because nobody believed that this war happens. Then when this war happened, nobody in 2014, nobody believed that they will launch full-scale invasion. Russians spent approximately a month or two convincing everybody that they were never gonna invade Ukraine, never. And the British intelligence was just hysterical, and the American intelligence was just spreading panics and things like that, because Russia would never invade Ukraine.
Never.
Are you crazy? Like, Russia invaded
peace-loving Russians.
Yeah, and I remember Lavrov like holding speech and like, did you hear what they're saying? That Russia is going to invade Ukraine? Like, what? Are you like crazy? Like, you are like true Nazi because you're saying bullshit. You're liars. And basically, several weeks after Lavrov's speech, boom, they invade Ukraine and they start this so-called special military operation, and we all know what happened then. So, of course, this will continue. Of course, they want to take whole Ukraine. They want to take Baltic countries as well. when if okay, let's imagine hypothetically, okay, hypothetically that there is like negotiations, the front line is frozen, and Russians like stopped shooting for real. Okay, they don't shoot, they don't shell, they don't like send missiles and etc. etc. There's buffer zone between two armies and things like that. In this very scenario, what I see is, of course, having this opportunity to stockpile their tanks, stockpile their weaponry, and without having the need to spend additional money. What they will invest into? They will invest into informational warfare in the European countries. And whatever shit we have right now, I'm talking about far right, far left, gaining popularity in Europe, far right gaining popularity in the United States, far right and far left gaining popularity in the Southern America. So this will be multiplied by 10, and they all will be calling their countries to leave NATO, leave European Union, exit these alliances, because we don't have to help others. We have to finally think about ourselves. Others, like whatever, they have their own problems. We have like multiple problems that all the previous governments didn't want to solve, but us right guys will solve them because we love our country so much. We're true nationalists, we're true patriots. Let's just self-isolate. And this is the moment when, like, you know, the next day, I don't know, France or Germany or like any other NATO member exits the exits the NATO, the next very day, the next special military operation will start there, because like overnight we will hear that Russians are so much oppressed in those countries. Russian language is not studied in the schools of Italy, which is a freaking shame. Italians are Nazi. They don't want to teach their kids Russian language. What the you know how many Russians live in Italy? 21 million Russians live in Italy, maybe 22. Ethnic Russians. 50 million ethnic Russians live in Estonia, even though Estonia has like smaller population, right? And nobody wants to talk Russian. Nobody wants Russian TV. Nobody wants Russian radio. Russian singer shaman, you know, wearing those Nazi uniforms, pressing red.
Think of all the oppressed Russian people in, you know, Central African Republic, and their rights are being held down. The Wagner Group needs to go in and rescue them.
Exactly. Japan, guys, let's not forget about Japan. When Russians are being constantly like thrown into this giant meat grinder and put in sushi, it's crazy. Or
sushi.
Yeah.
Well, what's sad is it sounds like we're making a big joke out of this.
I know.
And yeah, this is hyperbole. But it's not a joke. This is this kind of crap they pull all the damn time.
And this is what they did in Ukraine since 2014, guys. That's exactly the shit. One day we woke up and we realized that, wow, turns out we were actually like Nazi oppressing like millions of Russians living in Ukraine, which basically, you know, according to Russian media, make like 75% of freaking Ukrainian population. And we were like brutally murdering, eating their kids and shit like that. Like, why are those sushi smell like fish? Like, there's no fish, there's Russians, you know. Like, guys, it's freaking amazing. And the next day, a NATO country exits NATO. Overnight, you will hear all kinds of shit, and I think like if it's a Baltic country, right? That's 100% what happens there. We will hear all kinds of crazy shit about like repression of the Russian population, and the next day we will see Russian peacekeepers wearing blue helmets, having like mandate of the United Nations that they have right to do, peacekeeping operations around the world, and they will be stealing your toilets in France, in Germany, in Estonia. Because that's what they do.
Protect your shitters, people. Protect your shitters.
Yeah, in the history, there were absolutely no cases when Russians would not commit atrocities. No, they don't exist. Russians always did it in Afghanistan, Chechnya, everywhere. Aleppo. Remember Aleppo, and by the way, never forget about Syrians.
Yep. Well, and one of the most frustrating parts is
one sec. Secular. One sec before you get on. Let's give a proper welcome here. We got Professor Gerda's in now as well. Welcome, Prof. Hey. How's it going?
Just fine. Thank you.
Cool. So we'll let Secular Sakai finish his thought there, and then we'll turn to you and see what's on your mind about the situation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say that one of the most frustrating things about it is, when this conflict, ends or at least maybe let's just say comes to a pause. That's maybe a more realistic way to phrase it. I would say personally. The Russians aren't going to stop with their propaganda, both internal and external. And like Starsky was saying, bringing, depending on the country, far right or far left groups, helping to increase their influence, or at the very least, kind of echoing sentiments that causes, some people from both groups to find common cause with one another. It's an issue that's going to continue. And just like when this war started, there was enough going on in the information space and other things going on in the world that, there were people convinced, the Russians would never invade, even though they invaded, less than 10 years ago, Republic of Georgia. And, before Republic of Georgia, there was everything in Chechnya, but no one's even remembering any of that. It's almost like this constant cycle of amnesia, and it's very, very frustrating because the sad part is I predict it will happen again, and people will begin to forget, and it pisses me off a little. Anyway, Professor Gerdas, your thoughts, please.
So as Starsky was speaking, I was thinking all the time we hear NATO is encroaching on Russia, and that's the wrong way to frame it. The way to frame it is that all the Warsaw State countries fled from Russia to NATO. That's the proper way of thinking about it. And those that created this collective security treaty organization, there's a few nutcases like Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Kyrgyzstan couldn't go anywhere, Tajikistan, but Armenia is even leaning away from Russia some now. It's a really wild thing to watch that all the Warsaw State countries, you were talking about the Baltic states, I've been to Lithuania 3 times. They do not want Russia. Like even when I was there in 2001, they were very hostile toward anything Russian. And so the Baltic states experience has been, they came and ran us over and took away our freedom, and then put Russians in all the high places and made us subservient. They understand what's at stake here. So I think there's a reason why you see the Baltics and Poland being some of the more hawkish, and really they get it. And then it seems like the further you drift away, the harder it is for people to understand, with the exception of Great Britain. Great Britain's done a very good job right up there with them. But it's like the further you get in proximity, the less you understand. But those that live right close to Russia, Finland too. I remember day two of the war, seeing on the news the president of Finland going to the White House. He understood what was going on and was looking for some security agreements very quickly. So, anyway, that was what was going through my mind as he was speaking.
Professor, I think that Americans should really, really think about this too, because we understand
Us too in the Canada, but sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Canada, it's number one, okay? Because Poland, Baltic countries, they're bordering this evil empire. But here, for example, I'm reading this news from RIA Novosti, and RIA Novosti is basically one of the biggest Russian news agencies, and you can see Native Americans, right? So what they say is that Russia is the motherland for Indians. Indians, this is how they call Native Americans in Russia. Okay, so they say Native Americans actually come from Siberia, and this is the news dating 28th of June 2020. So it was 4 years ago. They were explaining that a bunch of Russian scientists were collecting DNA samples and shit like that, and eventually they proved that Native Americans in the USA, currently living in the territory of USA, they came from Siberia, which sounds, of course, plausible. There were studies that show that there was this connection between Alaska and Chukotka, and people were migrating here and there. And generally, humanity was born. There are two locations, according to science. There are two locations. It's either around the territory of modern Israel or in Africa. So basically, humanity comes from there. So we are all related. We're half Jewish, half Africans, anyways. Even though those Russian Siberians, them too, right? Because but this is one thing. Another thing is that last year I unfortunately had opportunity to watch a video by Russian propagandists. Well, I will not turn on the sound, but you can see those furiously screaming Russian propagandists who say that Anglo-Saxon supremacists basically were repressing everybody in the Americas, and because they were ethnic Russians who came from Siberia, we have to punish the West for that. Guys, 2022, remember some of our streams, I was talking about this. I was saying, guys, first of all, they will come for Alaska. Okay, and second of all, because this connection, between every human beings on Earth, they will come to the US because they will be protecting, ethnic Native Americans, because they are ethnic Russians. And here it is. This video was made a year ago.
So the ethnic Siberians, who are effectively under occupation by ethnic Russians, they're still considered to be ethnic Russians according to this theory.
Well, this is how empire works.
It's insane.
So I'm wondering if we can play this out a little bit. So this would include American Indians, but it would also include those that spread all the way into South America, because there's a ton of that, right? And so essentially Russia is in charge of all of North and South America in a significant way. But I'm wondering at what point the Mongolians can make the same claim.
They already did. So ex-president of Mongolia, and he was he's the coolest guy I know, actually, because he's very active in his Twitter. The other day he posted this. He said after listening to Putin's speech regarding his big Russian empire, I decided to check out the empire of Mr. Genghis Khan, and he put this big map, including big chunk of Russia, all the way to Yeah, and he's like, but please don't think anything about us because we're peaceful people. Of course, we don't think anything. Guys, it was the most viral tweet I believe in 2024. Like he made my day and everybody else, and like it took like millions of likes and reposts, I believe. He's like this ex-president of Mongolia. He's like the coolest man I know, and he always participates in different events together with like NATO armies. He participates and visits, different exercises.
Cool.
So they are very, very nice people. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it's funny when it comes to Mongolia. We'll shift the conversation back to keep it focused, but just with regards to claims of territory between Mongolia and other countries, it gets that specific topic gets interesting because to the best of my knowledge, they're still on good terms with Taiwan, not bad terms or anything, even though technically there's a claim of part of Mongolia's territory, but not really, just, I don't know, on paper by Taiwan. and it always ends up being something that isn't a very serious geopolitical matter. It's just kind of something that gets shrugged off. But then all this other stuff we're seeing, of course, is much more serious with more insidious governments like the Russians or I would also argue Turkey in certain cases. But anyway, let's move back to the original topic. And welcome, Greg.
Yeah, Greg, buddy.
What's going on, guys? Welcome. Thank you. Hey, Starsky. Prof, Commander, Dicky, Secular Sakai. Love all you guys. Just finished the Mother's Day. So my wife's mother's 80 years old and not in the best of health. So we did her Mother's Day today. It takes a lot of time. My mother is in much better health. And so today was my wife's Mother's Day, and we had a nice lunch for her at a nice restaurant and just got back. And tomorrow it's my mother's turn. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers watching all around the world. Happy Mother's Day. Mm-hmm.
Happy Mother's Day. We don't do Mother's Day around here because if you knew my ex-wife, I wouldn't have to explain myself. So we'll just gloss over that one. So here, but I kept it, okay. So
preemptive strategy, Greg.
I was ready.
So let me do a few super chat shout outs here, and then we'll get back to regularly scheduled programming. So
awesome.
Papa Dutch went absolutely crazy pre-show with some shout outs here. So Papa Dutch says, "This is my day, an old retired geezer looking for ways to be useful." I've given up on that already. Papa Dutch again, "Oh dear, what does this button do?" And then he put in Slava Earthlings, and then he put in, "If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right." And there's even more from Papa Dutch as well, but that worked out to be about $1 gazillion. And then XAJJ Killers there said, "Howdy, chat. Papa Dutch again. I send super chats because Trollbot can't buy them with rubles." I love it. And then he put in, "I love I'll never get this out of my mouth properly. I'm gonna come back and get somebody else to say the damn word right."
Me.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put it in. Bell Cowart threw in a super chat. "Why Ukraine? The Last Alliance brought up a good subject. There is not enough coverage of the children that Russia has kidnapped." I'll agree 100%. What can we do to help that? There needs to be more awareness and help. I am going to copy and paste that into our little green room so I can come back and address that after. Sorry, 1 second here. I know I'm muddling it all up. Papa Dutch again. "Are you excited? Then get that way." Papa Dutch again came in. "I'm back." I think he was doing it from Independence Day. Papa Dutch again. "I wonder what the babushkas think when they bring toilets back and have no plumbing to connect them to." Papa Dutch again. "If you give someone bullets, it isn't any of your business what they point them at. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Everybody needs to think that way. Jean-Marc Paganel came in with a super chat as well. Will the Georgia soldiers go fight back home if their maiden gets word?
My Don.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Right. You're right there. Yeah. Sorry. Screw up there. Nikki Hill, Danny Carver, and Susan Melendi were all giving out Shills membership. So huge thank you there to everybody. Razinia C threw in a super chat. What is the difference between regular and Russian flu? Answer, you get sick from regular flu, but some Rusky flew out the window. I like that one. That was very good. Very good. Jean-Marc Paganel again. Never agreed to ceasefire without UN peacekeeping force made of Canadians, British, French, Germans on the border of Russia. Good words. Good words. You know they exist with a super chat. Can Starsky assess the potential secret army of orcs living in Kharkiv Oblast and being organized to wreck the city suddenly?
I don't think that it's possible nowadays, guys. You must understand that the level of security in the bordering regions is like absolutely insane. That's why even those Vatniks who live in and continue living in the Kharkiv region, they are either being, let's say, observed very, very intensively by the security service of Ukraine, the law enforcement, or they don't live there at all anymore. There's a lot of people who moved out from Kharkiv Oblast after the beginning of the invasion. There's unfortunately a lot of people who had to leave their houses that were destroyed. Some houses were occupied, and there is no such force as, army of orcs just emerging in the middle of, Kharkiv by itself.
They pop out of the ground like sunflowers.
well, that's the only way they can emerge there, basically.
A couple more then.
Kharkiv is one of the hardest cities even to get into through the border. I mean, when I say border, I mean, I'm talking about coming even from the Ukrainian side. So checkpoints have different complexities depending on where you're at in the war, especially any border region, whether it be Chernihiv, Sumy, Kharkiv, then of course down on any of what we would consider the front red line, 1,000 kilometers all the way to Kherson. The two most difficult cities to get in right now, and you have to have the proper documents. You have to have all your T's crossed, I's dotted, is actually Kharkiv and Kherson. But Kharkiv is well protected. And we're just going to continue to see them disturbing it from up north for distraction or whatever the other plans are. But there's nobody popping up in the middle of Kharkiv. They're not coming out of the sewers in Kharkiv, I promise you.
At the same time, I think it needs to be stated that it's realistic to assume that there are sleeper agents in that area.
Of course, just like there are for Ukrainians. I've got personal friends that are inside Russia right now, and I'm able to communicate them a little bit. I'm talking Ukrainian, Ukrainian guys, and they're doing a great job as well. But Starsky's right. Maybe the next time I'm in Kharkiv, which hopefully is going to be in a few weeks here if we can get those armored vehicles there. I need to go into Saltivka and take some video of Saltivka, and that's where you can then understand what Starsky's talking about as how many people had to leave. There's certain regions in Kharkiv from early in the war that were really hit hard. We're talking about 16-story apartment buildings, not completely leveled, but when 2/3 of it's leveled, nobody can live in it. So there's a certain section there in Saltivka it's really bad, and it's basically a ghost town now. And those are people that was early in the war, though. But for now, and I think, Starsky, you probably saw this, and Professor Gertis, there was, the fake propaganda about 3 to 4 weeks ago of all these cars leaving Kharkiv and all of this. All of that's lies, guys. There's always more cars coming into Kharkiv than leaving. Kharkiv is a stable city. Now, I completely believe it's going to continue to be glide bombed, and it's going to continue to receive S-300s and all of those things. But it's it's one of my favorite cities. I love when I'm in Hardi. I love the city.
There was a question from Silver Earth regarding Russians, I believe. Weren't they using sewers? And I think that this question has a very obvious answer, because Russians using sewers is something very unheard of. I don't believe. Well, if you peek inside a sewer, I believe that you will find something that represents like Russian world, okay, but it won't attack you.
Well, it's the
Trust me,
Kremlin.
yes.
It's the Kremlin klizma is what it is. Pravina.
Yeah,
The Kremlin klizma. So basically, I just said it's Putin's enema. That's what you'll find in the sewers of Ukraine. Okay. Rick's in here, so he understood that too.
Exactly. Also, if you look in this, if you look in the sewers, then you'll find the equivalent of Russian charisma. It's non-existent.
It's the same. These pictures are the same. Hi guys.
Yeah.
What's up,
Good to
Rick?
see you all.
And Andrew popped
Hello,
in here.
bro.
Yeah,
Mongo.
Hey, Rick.
we're in here. We're locked in.
All right.
Ricardo, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. I'm awake. We stayed up a little too late last night playing scary games. So I had to get out of that. I had nightmares. I really did.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's really that scary, is
reminds
it?
me.
That's awesome.
It was more atmospheric horror. Like it was about these swimming pools and liminal spaces where it's like people should be there, but they're not. So it's just like really kind of creepy. And that got to me. But
Cool.
so that type of horror gets to me, not really like the monsters chasing you.
I was playing
Yeah.
Warzone.
Yeah.
I was playing Warzone, and I saw your thing pop up, and I popped over there, and I saw you floating around these pools and all these scary sounds. I said, "All right, I'm out. I'm out."
Yeah, it was an experience. But thank you guys for having me. I'm awake now. We're ready to go. Good to see Rick. Good to see Greg. Good to see Dr. Gertis, Operator Starsky. It's a great panel. Love it.
Totally, man. Yeah, this is one of those moments where, that's a group, man. That's how it's done. Let's see here. So we should turn to our newest, joiners. Mercado, Andrew, we'll start with you. Events over the last few days. What's on your mind? What are you thinking?
Yeah, we started a new NATO fundraiser. So we're on another one. I think it's our 10th patch now. So we're rocking and rolling with that. We helped Greg and Darren and Rick as well. There was so many YouTubers on that one fundraiser. We were pushing that out to get those armored vehicles. So that's good. Just finally figuring out a schedule, because I got this new place and I'm just so ready to do stuff now, because I'm like motivated, but I got to learn to not do too much and just stick to what works. So that's like kind of the things I'm working on, like what my platform's going, what I'm doing. And right now it's just figured out, just kind of stay still, just do what I'm doing now and let the changes happen when they happen over time. So that's what I'm going through right now. Just personal growth, community building, getting right back on track and getting ready for the rest of the year. Thank you for asking.
Loving the mugga hat. Loving the mugga hat. Very cool.
Needed.
Very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of fundraisers and trucks and stuff, ours is coming along great with the Portuguese battalion of the NATO 69 Sniffing Brigade. And, it's really slow to load. There we go. We've got it over 13, so we're close, fellow babies. The pinned comment in the live chat takes you directly there. And all the Boom Boom Fund buck chucks and stuff that have come in today as well are going into that as well. Speaking of which, let me just clean up the last couple. There was Paul Gilbert. He came in with a super chat and it was more, please. Boom Boom Fund indeed. Jean-Marc Paganel, Odin is laughing. Victory Day is Russia snowing. Meanwhile, Northern Lights in Ukraine. Hey, that's a pretty good shout. That solitary tank in their parade was the saddest thing. I know you ripped up on that good, Mercado, didn't you?
Yeah. Yes.
That was fun. So a couple last ones here. SSW Custom Sewing. Thank you for showing up and supporting Ukraine. Oh, we get the hearts out on that one. Come on. Slow technology. Jean-Marc Paganel again there. Can Starsky answer? Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Can Starsky answer on Jeffia and the rest of panel opinions?
What is it?
GEIFIA. I'm
Lost, huh?
Yeah,
I'm lost too.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to show off, because it's not me, it wasn't me, was asking whether his people treating me well. So today, guys, today I met my friends. They're NAFO, and I believe that they're watching this stream now as well. And check what I have. It's like the coolest patch that I could imagine. Yeah, it's and by the way, I'm flying Microsoft Flight Simulator. I have this exactly patch on my airplane. I didn't know it, but yeah, this is what I have now. I will carry it with me all the time.
Awesome. Very cool. Apatox threw in a $2 super sticker shout out. Oh, it's the blue and yellow hearts. So here we go, hearts. Thank you. Ronnie Holmes became a shill apprentice, so welcome to the family. Thank you very much. There's a couple of direct donations in too. Jeremy threw in one $10 direct donation, 10 US. I'm not going to put the last name in because I don't know if I'm doxing anybody or not. Like, I always get nervous about that. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, okay, hold on. Jeremy in April. I'm sure that where okay. Okay, sorry. I was trying to think of somebody that just had a birthday recently that's watching the show, husband and wife team. But we had direct donation in from Silver Earth as well, $65 direct donation. Thank you all in Ukraine who are defenders of democracy. Heroyam Slava from Silver Earth with love.
You rock rollers.
Go.
Yeah. And then there was another one as well. Jeremy threw in two at $10 a piece. This is what's going on. And then we had Joshua okay. I'll have to get back because the service is doing that thing where I'm not getting usernames, I'm getting actual names, and I don't want to do that. So I'll come back to the last couple shout outs there. Oh, puppies have always got to be on a stream.
Yeah, that's got my attention now. I'm sorry.
That's pretty hard.
I'm seeing what's going on with Commander down there. It's looking. I wish I had that right now.
So, Rick, what's happening? What's new? What's up?
Oh, I actually missed the Shills a lot. I missed you guys and this fun time. Every Saturday, I have like a resting day and just trying to not work at least on Saturday. now when I'm full-time rolling, unfortunately it's my work. Fortunately, because that's an awesome work and I am happy to work here. And what I just regret every time I don't come here on Saturday. It's been more than a month since I've been here, and I see you've given up sending me the link. Please keep doing it, Dick.
I just figured, why keep sending you the same link over and over? You got it, right? You know? Yeah. Okay, I'll get to it. Yeah.
Well, it feels like, oh shit! What's the point of sending it to him? He's not gonna show up anyway. Sorry, man. I love to show up every time, and I miss the shill. So I'm happy to be here, and in general, everything is good. The work continues. We closed the fundraiser for our NATO truck just last week, and Wally Drennan did it. He's the superstar from Starsky's community. And he just said, come to me on email and said, Rick, I've heard on Starsky stream that you're struggling to close your NATO truck fundraiser. How much is it to close it? And I told him that is more than 5,000 euros. And No problem. I'm gonna send it. And he closed the fundraiser.
Wow.
He sent it and closed it. This was crazy. So thank you so much, Wally. You're a legend, and you saved a few lives, definitely, because the longer those fundraisers go, the longer units are without wheels, and without wheels they are more vulnerable, or with less wheels, because they need many trucks, and they are also expendables. So unfortunately, yeah, and we're going to be raising for the trucks for the same units, but hopefully the representatives are alive, the soldiers who are that's the most important thing. So anyway,
let's give Wally the big alien girl chat dance.
This one's for you, Wally, if you're watching. Okay, second topic that you will definitely like, Dick, is standing next to me. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
And I remember how I actually didn't watch the last stream, but I've heard a lot about what was happening there. Yana came to the show last week, to my show, and she told me everything about it. So thank you for advertising it.
It was a cluster screw up, but we did get it.
Great. Beep it. You gotta synchronize, guys. Oh. Okay, so yeah, guys, this last one is actually being put off the auction, and we're raffling it for $10 for a ticket. Gonna finish the raffle tomorrow. In case you're interested, as always, you can send money to either my PayPal or buy me a coffee. All money from this one, and also from the auction of the rest of 7 paintings, so rest of this collection, okay, they will all go to the needs. Well, actually, we have a fundraiser for. Well, that's a bomb super chat there. Crazy. Thank you. Yeah, the Shills is on fire. Awesome. Okay, so I was saying that that these all money will go for the pickup truck. Maybe not a pickup truck, but an SUV, because they call it. Yeah, sometimes we are not using pickup trucks here. To each unit his own, and they will. Yeah, we need 11,300. No, and $250. And guys, with all the paintings, we already have around $5,500 or $6,000. So thank you so much for everyone who placed the bid. This is crazy. I know a few fellow babies probably placed some bids, and actually Wally Drennan placed a huge bid himself, went there and placed $2,500. That's another boom. Yeah.
Totally. You got to hit the button for those kind of numbers, man.
Yeah, so crazy. And just, I don't know, last thing to say. I will say it later. Anyway, I'm yeah, not actually throwing all my cards out, if you use that term. Anyway, guys, I wanted to talk to you about anything you want to talk about today, because I'm here not only to advertise my campaigns, but also to have some fun with you guys. You always have it here, so let's have some fun.
Well, who wants the floor here? I'm getting the feeling Professor Gerdes has got something he really wants to get into.
No, yeah, my wheels have been turning. I have a question. So, Rick, you've done multiple NATO fundraisers. Mercado's done multiple. Starsky's had his hands in the pot. How many trucks have been raised? Do we have any idea?
It's over.
In general,
I'd be over 300 now, right? It's like 300.
It's been 350 at least on the last handover event last Friday, a week ago.
Crazy big.
Yeah, and we actually crossed that mark, and I think it's about 370 by now, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, way more than 350, because I've seen 351 there or something, and I didn't check every truck. So yeah, guys, that's a crazy number. Soon there's going to be 400, because next convoy is going to happen just in 2 or 3 weeks. And oh, Andrew, are you coming in this one?
No, I'm not able to. I was going to, but my brother's getting married. I found out on June 14th, and the convoy.
wow.
The convoy leaves on the 12th. So I would have went. Honestly, I would have went to Ukraine. I don't really talk to my brother too much, but my grandpa was like, "Well, you got to be there. You got to be there." So I'm like, okay, grandpa, I'll be there. I'll be there. So I'm gonna go. But then I moved my. I'm gonna go to Ukraine in July again. Maybe it's around my birthday. Maybe I'll turn 31 in Ukraine this time. At 30. So. Yeah. So July convoy is what I'm shooting for. But if I can't, if I don't get the funds to get back to Ukraine, I'll just put it into my NATO truck and then just get another truck fundraise. But we fundraised a truck on the way to Ukraine on the convoy. Like I live streamed.
Awesome.
I live streamed at least the trip to Poland, and then after Poland, I don't stream anymore just because of operational security stuff. But I streamed from Tallinn to Warsaw. And then that was like 15 hours of stream, and we ended up raising another truck on that. So it does work if we can get me there. Like we can get some good funding and on the ground video and talk to Greg and what Greg's doing out east in the front lines and follow him around. And that would be, I think, would be really, really good for people to see in 2024 what's going on out there. But again, if I don't get the funds to get there, I'll just roll that into a NATO fundraiser.
You'll get them. You'll get them. I'm sure of it. Okay, man. So there's going to be a good tradition if we celebrate your birthday here in Ukraine every year.
It sounds
just like the last year.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I'm down for that too. It was a great birthday, especially if like Greg will be there this year. We can have Greg can come. But yeah, we had a like a YouTuber journalist birthday last year, Greg, with some
Sweet.
people.
I look forward to it.
And Kyiv,
man,
this was epic.
This is a great panel here. So the more of us we can connect at any time, any place is even better. And I'm just even watching a lot of people's chat where they're just thankful where they can just pop in here and see the people they follow during the week all together chatting and on the same team and supporting each other. That's the beautiful thing. And I'll be honest with you, if you guys, when our armored vehicles are there, if you're there, you're driving them. So
yeah, you're working. You're putting work in.
You will have to drive a stick shift backwards, but hey, no problem. We can learn that in Rick's driveway.
Johnny taught me how to drive a stick forwards, and
awesome
in the Kyiv Lavra. That's where I learned how to drive a stick, and I'll carry that memory with me forever. Kyiv Lavra is where I learned how to drive a stick with Johnny FD.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
We should we've got a couple super chat shout outs that got missed in my flurry there, and a big one here from Ryan to do. So I'm just going to cut in quick here. UTV and Ham had come in with a $50 super chat. Thank you for all the hard work you do. Very much, good shout out. And then Baltar, by your command, had come in with a $50 super chat as well for the Boom Boom Fun, Slava Ukraini. So sorry I missed those earlier, guys, but our team in the background is so good they figured it out for me. Give a hand to the mods. They're so good. And then Ryan came in with a $300 super chat. Boom, baby. Hey, everyone. Let's get this truck done. You guys deserve it for saving me so much time and y'all's individual vids. Cheers from Edmonton. Oh, home of the Oilers. Home to the soon-to-be Stanley Cup champion Oilers. Slava Ukraini. I'm in BC. I should be cheering for Vancouver, but honestly, I don't give a rat's ass. As long as there's Canadian team.
Yeah, it's going to Canada, and Canada's going to get it.
Yeah. So happy. So yes, thank you, everyone. We also had Holy Oblation gifting out memberships as well. So thank you very much. I have to sell that one now because of my member Greg. You can't even say it, can you? Remember? So let's see here. Where should we go? One more shout out here to the fundraiser with the Portuguese battalion of the NAFO 69 Sniffing Brigade. Pinned comment in the live chat will take you right there and we don't even need to be involved with it. You can just donate right through. It works out very well for everybody. Follow that link, fellow babies. And plus everything, all the super chats and stuff and whatnot today are getting tossed into there as well. So it's been a very successful day for the fundraiser. Thanks, everybody. Who wants the floor?
So I have to bail in just a little bit, but I do have one other question. Beyond the trucks, there's drones, right?
Mhm.
I mean, there are other. What are the other fundraisers that people might not be aware of that they might want to give to?
Are you talking about the 69 Sniffer Brigade?
Yes, correct.
So they started bringing Lang drones there for the ammunition delivery and for mining also. The drone is not big. They are putting just a landmine there, the tank mine on it, and it can drop it off at any time. It is very mobile, very easy maneuvering, and very speedy. They've been showing off with it during the handover event, and you will definitely see a beautiful video of it working on the 69 Sniffer Brigade. But I spoiled it a bit in my video. Meaning spoiler. No one was spoiled, but those robots, I've shown them in my video, guys, of the handover event. If you didn't know, I do them every time. I go to every handover event. I do interviews. I show the process. Well, the backstage process is usually the same, but something different usually happens there, so it's really interesting for me. Awesome experience meeting so many cool people there. So drones, you can actually adopt a drone there on 69 Sniffer Brigade's website. And now they're doing FPVs, a lot of FPVs being brought there. This time I've seen at least, I would say 50 to 100 of them standing there. That they're unpacking them and piling them up, and that's an impressive pile. Maybe even 200 guys, because there's judging by the size of the pile, it was probably bigger than 100, though I need to check the video out again. Anyway, so that's basically not all. Medevacs, they started doing medevacs more consistently. Now one medevac is 20,000. No, actually more than that, 25 to 30.
Greg knows.
Right. Nah, it's a different medevac.
It's a different kind.
It's about 27,000. It's about 27,000.
27.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, Andrew should have asked you. Thank you. So 27,000 euros. This one is not armored, of course, but it has a heating system, a lot of interesting stuff in it. So it is really made in a vac from the regular van.
And just so people know, Rick, sorry, because they hear about this huge number that we raise, all of us working together for these medevacs, the $400,000 and $260,000 project, but ours are fully armored.
It's
the whole run flat tires, the anti-drone systems. I mean, we're delivering the Cadillacs. So,
of course, they're much.
But I didn't want people. I didn't want people in the community to go, hold on, Greg's medevacs are 60,000. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
guys, can you imagine how expensive armor is and how expensive it is?
Well, we doubled the back end, so it has the physical armor, and then it's double wrapped with Kevlar. I mean,
nice.
And the 69 Sniffer Brigades tried to do the best they can with the armor by just trying to put something on the doors. But I mean, you got the anti-drone jammers and the NATO trucks too. Medical supplies. They're including drones with all the fundraisers now. So just if Mavics, you can choose FPVs if you want them. Usually about like 10 to 12 FPVs. With the thing, but it's about a $20,000 fundraiser a month for my channel.
Sweet.
But when we do the FPVs as well, it's closer to 30. But they're really, really good. The anti-drone jammers are huge. They're in every vehicle. The spare tires that go into them, but the extra set, really, really good stuff. Especially it's the best fundraisers in my opinion between Greg's and then the NAFO one.
No, the NAFO, ours, all of us working together. They're all awesome, and they're getting there. Just from talking to the guys and not just Pete, but there's other frontline guys in different regions. We're delivering these two as well. It was surprising how important for these guys actually bulletproof glass was, because they've lost a lot of guys driving the vehicles, even from gunfire, or also because they're going to close to the zero for these extractions of the wounded, and a lot of shrapnel. So we actually, it's about 5,000 euros just to retrofit the glass for these. But if you're looking to maybe make them a little safer for the driver and the front passenger, that bulletproof glass, it is some type of special glass, but it's bulletproof, and it's very important.
Hey, thanks for answering my questions. I got to bail. I'm sorry.
All right, see you, Dr. Gertis. Thanks for stopping by.
All good.
Oh,
Yeah.
dropped off so fast. We don't have Dick.
He has 6 kids.
Yeah,
Yeah, he told me
busy.
that.
Yeah.
He's super
wow.
busy. He's waiting
And
for
he's
his mug. He's waiting for his mug of stuff too. He's waiting for it like a kid on Christmas.
I didn't get a chance to ask. So what's the story with the Mugga stuff? I had to step away for an emergency call.
It's a troll on Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're kind of throwing it right back at her because she thought she held up a Mugga hat that she made, thinking that it was going to be an own or a diss on Ukraine supporters, saying, "Oh wow, they're making Ukraine great again instead of America." And we're like, "All right, we'll just get the merch then. And here we go. Let's make Ukraine great again." And so it's more of a throw it right back at her, and it's also helps Ukraine because it's from NATO, the official NATO, and then also the St. Javelin's doing a Mugga line, and all that money goes towards Ukraine. So it's good.
Oh, okay.
Not all.
That's real good to know.
No, I mean not all. I mean not entirely. It's the fees and stuff.
Yeah.
But like there's the percentage of it does go back to Ukraine. So if I'm going to buy merch that's Ukraine related, I want it to either be in Ukraine, like in the shops in Kyiv or whatever, where I'm buying it there for the economy, or some percentage is going back to Ukraine.
Yeah,
So at least a little bit.
Absolutely.
Commander, what are you up to?
What, right now or in
Yeah.
general?
just in general, like what do you got going on? I haven't talked to you in a while personally.
Mostly health-related issues,
Ah,
both mine and my in-laws. So,
I'm sorry to hear that, buddy.
it's
Mm.
been a long time coming, and so with regards to the in-laws, and so
Mhm.
we're kinda just waiting for the inevitable. I hate that stage. I had to go through it with my dad about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Shit. I'm sorry,
Well,
man.
thanks for coming on
Sorry to
to
hear that.
the panel.
Whatever.
Regardless, though.
Yeah, I got nothing else to do today. Yeah, Dick's always the last choice. I wanted to revisit something that was said earlier with regards to the whole, and I agree with Starsky's comment, was that, if there was a negotiated settlement, it would just mean postponing a renewal of hostilities for a short period. We'd wait 5-10 years before it happened again. And I agree with the caveat that if Ukraine gets into NATO, it changes the whole dynamic, because the one thing that seems to have been pretty consistent, not just with Russia, but with any time you get these authoritarian states that want to expand their borders, when they run up against a collective security organization, it makes it really challenging for them to do something, because they're confronted with more than one opponent. Their whole goal, if you've noticed, with real Russian strategy right now, is this kind of divide and conquer mentality of trying to strip off individual nations from the alliance, to make people convinced that, oh, well, you don't need to support Ukraine, your money is unimportant, the Americans are covering it for now, or whatever. And as long as you keep everybody unified in the stand up against the authoritarians, you have a good chance that it's going to protect everyone.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, full agreed. It's like staying the course, right?
Yeah.
Staying locked in, keeping everybody updated.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been saying for a while now that the war really isn't going to be something that's lost or won on the front lines so much as all of this information warfare, propaganda war that's going on behind the scenes. And I think that's where our focus as, individual people who want to support Ukraine, who want to support democracy, that's where we should be focused, is is countering the disinformation campaigns emanating from Russia specifically, but any of the authoritarian regimes in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big push
Agreed.
to try to divide in our Western countries like the United States, Canada, European countries. It's like you said, divide and conquer. Go in there, find the extremes, find the extreme people, and then make them be the voices instead of like the people that can
they
work
plant
with all
the seed,
types.
they let it grow, the whole bit, and then before you know it, in Canada we have MAGA morons running around talking about their amendment rights. Wrong country, idiots. You know?
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. Just America everywhere, huh? Just take our bullshit and spread it. Russia's spreading misinformation, disinformation. We're spreading garbage. Like political garbage. Goodness.
Call me rock roll music.
God.
Oh man, if it works that way, get me some Elvis as a defensive shield, you know. Okay, so what do we got here? Oh, we're okay for time. We got about 20 30 minutes or something like that. I got a couple of shout outs to do here. So there was a direct donation boom boom fund from SSW Custom Sewing with a great message. Slava Ukraini. Excellent. And then we had good words. And then we had Paul Deberitz. I think I can actually say that correctly now. Sent in a $25 direct donation there for the NATO truck in the Pilot Goes. Thank you. And for the NATO truck again, and I'm going to hit two buttons for this one. For the NATO truck from Kobe Jack, and that's $100 direct donation. This fund is going, it's going. You know what I'll do is I'll make a payment into the fundraiser right at the end of the show, just so we can see the final total before we take off. Now, I can't put the super chats in. They don't come in right away, but we do have some in the kitty from, just leftovers, right? That the show gets from memberships and stuff. So I'll see how much of it I can put in, right away. We'll see how it goes here. Let's see. It's too bad talking about misinformation there that Starsky had to go. Speaking of which, something came up in Starsky's world and he had to bail like on the spot, right? And
yeah, he has this. We were supposed to have a post stream too. Yeah, he's got some personal. So he'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. It's just it's one of those things, We'll just he's out of touch right now. So what are you gonna do? Yeah,
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah. Happens to the best of us. Happens to the worst of us. I mean, sometimes the sun shines on a dog's ass, and other times it makes a halo around its head. You just never know what's coming. So what do you
I have
guys?
a question for you.
Yeah.
Will you be on NATO Truck Convoy?
Ooh, that would be a good one.
Myself?
Yeah, yourself.
My situation with being mostly a single parent with a
I know.
kid on the autism spectrum and stuff, I can't see it happening until I want to be able to go over with them after things settle and Ukraine is a sovereign free land with no invaders again. So but
You told me that you actually give his mom to care about him for a few days.
Yeah. Well, she once again lives kind of like a few hours from here, so she'll blast in and have him for like 4 or 5 days or whatever, and then blast off and do whatever she does in life, and
it's gonna be in 5 days is gonna be enough to come to Ukraine, hand over a truck, and get back.
You get on the train and go right home.
Yeah, man, you're gonna be fine here. Believe me, it's relatively safe in Kyiv. You won't notice it much.
No, I'm not concerned that way, right? But I do have to make it home for him for sure.
I'll meet you in Poland.
Yeah, we'll meet you there. We'll see. We'll be waiting for you.
And then you can get on the train with me, and you can curse all you want. I'll translate it for you because I don't feel like I'm cursing when I'm doing it in a foreign language. So I don't do it in English, but you do it, and then they'll say, "Well, what did he say?" And then I'll just let it rip.
You want to
Well-
hear Greg T get slack-jawed yokel in another language? He'll reiterate what I say, and we'll do it live. It'll be hilarious. Oh yeah,
Dick, the train even pulls over. You can have smoke breaks on the way there. I mean,
Awesome.
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
And there must be beer in Ukraine, so I'm good there, right?
Well, I've come to the conclusion that Dick smokes enough. He could start a thermal power plant out there in Ukraine somewhere, and power half of Ukraine.
So he could be a horse. He could be a horse then. We need him there. Yeah, we really we need him now. Hey,
Dawson, sponsored
the
by
same thing.
Marlboro on the scene.
I said the same thing in 2022. I was like, yeah, I'll go to Ukraine when the war is over, when it's all nice, and then there I was last year, 4 times in a row going back. So and I'm going back this year. So it'll happen when it happens. It'll happen when it happens. But
you guys got a good point. I never looked at it from the perspective of it actually could be done within the time frame, no problem.
Yeah,
the only thing I have to,
easily.
The only thing I have to do is schedule it with a certain somebody and grandma as well, because grandma's very helpful that way too. And I could probably get myself a proper 7-day chunk, and that would do it. Right? Easy.
Yes, man. So you see, the only thing I had to do is to plant a seed in your brain, and you're coming to Ukraine this year. I'm sure of it.
Okay. All right.
He's been planted.
All right. Yeah. I think I got a passport somewhere.
Awesome.
Yeah, dig it out, dust it off.
Start thinking about it every day, and you're gonna be here soon.
Well, at least if you go with Greg, you're with Greg, but he's probably gonna have you do some stuff. But if you go with NATO, though, you're like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, and then Sunday you're coming back. That's it.
Yeah,
pretty quick.
With NAFO, it's really speedy. So it's not going to be much time without you for your son. So
yeah, I can get that chunk of time. Yeah. So this will have to be properly thought of, because it was always just one of those things where I was like, well, I just don't see how I could make that happen, right? But
it's like that.
I was always looking at it from the point of view of, well, where I go, he goes, right? That's just my natural, yeah.
My son is 16 and he's a football player, and he's much bigger than I am, by the way. And he says, Dad, I'm going with you when you go on your next trip. I'm going to that front line with you, Dad. And I said, let's roll, son. And my wife goes, there's
Absolutely
not a
Absolutely
chance in hell he's going with you. Oh, sorry, there's not a chance in he's going with you.
Yeah.
Dream on.
She can
No, my
stomach
wife-
losing you. That's okay,
wife
but
said
not
that.
one
She
of her
goes-
children.
She goes, if you get blown, you and Shane, you get blown up. I know you guys died happy and doing like what your life love is the nation of Ukraine. So if you get blown up there, I'm just going to be sad, but I'm going to know you are doing what you loved. I'll be remarried by the next Thursday, but I just want you to know that I love you.
That mailman, he be looking good, honey. It's okay.
Jody.
Once I've got my finances in order, I intend on going myself.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's a big thing, but I think it's worth it. Yeah.
Oh, you
It's
actually
definitely worth
told me that this year you're planning to come. Sorry,
I think
for
I heard the
interrupting
same
you,
thing.
Andrew.
I think I heard the same thing. Yep.
So I assume Rick Rollers
I
has
want
started.
to. Again,
He started the new division of his full-time rolling. He's now a travel agent. And for all your visa and travel services to Ukraine.
Exactly. I actually did this with Canty. He came to Ukraine, and
Shout out to
damn,
Canty.
he's amazing.
He
Canty.
is. I was honored to meet him there in Kyiv at the NATO event.
Yeah. He visited every NAFO truck handover event that he's been there. So it was so cool. And we hanged out a lot. And Kenty's such a good, kind, and caring person. Damn, guys, you got to come to Ukraine when Kenty's going to live here. He plans to move to Ukraine, actually. Hopefully this year, by the end of this year, but next year, 100%. And I am sure that he's going to do it because This man has no obstacles, believe me.
I think when you get people to Ukraine, they realize, wow, I kind of want to stay here now. And then when they leave, it's like, oh, I don't want to. Damn it, America, really? Ukraine or America? It's like,
Yes.
Well, and in all seriousness, what keeps people there is the Ukrainian people.
Yeah,
that's what does it.
Dude, that's one of the things I'd be looking forward to most, because there's a lot of similarities in the way that Canadians approach life and Ukrainians. We have a similar outlook on things, you know?
Yeah.
I think
Ukrainians
love
love Canadians, man. Canada's done a lot for Ukraine, even pre-war. A lot of good things. And Canadians are highly respected in Ukraine.
We got
the
a
biggest
large
diaspora in Canada. Ukrainian diaspora is the biggest in Canada. Yeah, that's what Dick was about to say.
yeah. The it's the you know, I had one of those moments where my brain just went as blank as it can. I got nothing.
I'm the only one old enough
We've been
to
jumping
qualify for senior moment.
Come on, Dick.
Hey, I have to do Alex. Okay. Tip me over.
I'll take brain farts for 400.
Yeah.
What is Dick Dawson?
A brain fart right now. I tell you that.
That was a brain worm.
Yeah. I'm still doing it, you know.
I think that's what, I don't know anything. I just saw the headline, so I know nothing about it. But I think, isn't that what RFK Jr. said? He's got worms.
Yeah, he had a brain worm and ate a piece of his brain and died. It didn't go any further.
And he's running for president.
Yeah,
of the United States.
yeah.
Okay, guys.
Not the best news. not the best thing to really reveal.
Man,
Yeah.
man, when you realize that
Does that mean he's like one of the lizard people?
Yeah, that must be what that means.
Oh,
man.
Now I understand.
that moment when you realize Biden, Trump, RFK Jr., cognitive health of all, wow, like where the hell's everyone under 70?
At least one's admitted to brain worms now. Or one brain worms. Okay, that one no.
Guys, I'm sorry. A Ukrainian who's not in context, who's RFK Jr.?
Oh, he's a Kennedy.
Robert
He's
F. Kennedy Jr. So this would have been President John F. Kennedy's great nephew.
Great nephew. Okay, because I know who
just his nephew.
is.
Nephew. I'm sorry.
I think it's just nephew, Greg. Yeah.
Yeah, just nephew.
Yep,
So Robert F. Kennedy was the Attorney General for the United States, and he was JFK's brother. He was assassinated in 1968 by Sirhan. Sirhan, is that who it was? Commander McClellan? I go to your age there, but
Oh, thank you.
so now it's,
Yes, I was president of ballroom when it happened.
I think that's who it is.
You're right.
No,
you're,
It is. You're
Greg.
correct.
You're right.
It's
You're
your
right.
honor.
Okay.
yeah. So he's the nephew of John F. Kennedy. He's running for president. He's the quote unquote third option, and he's just
a Republican funded spoiler vote.
yeah, basically. He's trying to take votes away from Trump, basically. But because you can see him now, even in the
Away
American
from
politics. Yeah, or he's really just there to pull votes, honestly.
Yeah, so objectively,
he's
no
like-
chance to beat Trump,
No.
right?
Oh
Yeah, of course.
No.
he's
I don't think-
Trump.
I don't
zero-
think
zero
anybody.
Trump.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thinks he has a realistic chance.
Not at
His whole purpose
No.
there is to play on the Kennedy name,
Yeah,
which gets all of those people who don't really follow politics closely. And he's a Kennedy. Yeah, I'll vote for him. I love the Kennedys.
Yeah.
All right, here's one more politics thing for you, and I don't watch this stuff, but I did see it somewhere on a feed or something. Trump at Mar-a-Lago being interviewed or giving a little talking to journalists, and journalist was asking him about potential VP picks, and so Trump turned it onto the reporter and says, "Well, who would you like me to have as my VP?" And the guy goes, "Tucker Carlson. That's easy." Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Exactly.
Okay, hold
Well,
on.
that's not
I'm
gonna
pulling
happen.
out the goat for that.
It's out there, guys. It's out there, but
the choices aren't great. And you got Kristi Noem, who kills puppies, and then you have
Okay, that was perfect timing.
Had to be.
My understanding is that she's kind of out of the running now because they've capitalized on the shooting the puppy thing enough that
Yeah, she's done now.
she's lost all credibility.
Oh
yeah, well, that and her book too, writing that she met with Kim Jong Un, that never happened. And
yeah,
then
she's
she
a
went out-
bold-faced
yeah,
liar,
she just
dude.
lies. It's just even their own right-wing news sent her through the gauntlet and was like, "Did you?"
I
Really
personally conquered the Klingon Empire.
Yeah, that's what, might as well say that. Maybe that'll work.
You know, when Follow News is calling you out, you done wrong. You know?
It's another classic
goodness.
case of how can you tell a Republican is lying? His lips are moving.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just like with Russians, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Greg
Okay,
just
guys.
politely sitting there thinking about his Reagan plate behind him.
No, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to just start, you know.
No, man, you're example of a really clear-minded Republican. So,
Well, what people forget
There are a lot of them.
is what people forget is we think, especially for those of us that are late 40s and over, 50s and over, the Republican Party that I think about and refer
It's
to
not
is
today's.
not the Republican Party of today.
No,
so
you
that's-
look at it. You
That's
look
all-
at
I
it.
don't even look. This Republican
Yeah.
Party today is not my Republican Party. That's
Right.
what needs to be understood. No
Yeah.
party's my party now. Zero.
If you go
I
back,
look for truth.
Yeah.
And if that truth is blue, let it be blue. If it's red, let it be red. If it's green, let it be green. I want to
Mhm.
vote for the best candidate who
some
leads the
green.
best way.
Yep.
And that's it. So
Have some green now.
I am not a stereotypical Republican. Those days are over, guys. They're
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
And it's a
I was-
completely different world.
Yeah, I was the same way too, Rick and others. Like I was a complete partisan, like a Republican all the way too. Personally, like I voted for Trump in 16. I voted for Romney in 12. Like I was all the way right wing for sure.
Mhm.
But I can't, like in recent memory, I'm choosing well, and I guess my truth can be different than others, but really I don't see it that way. I feel like I'm pretty common sense, but I guess we're in a world where that can be interpreted different ways, but whatever. So I'm going to vote for who I feel is just the best for America, for the situation, whether it's red or blue. Right now it seems to be blue for me personally, but that can change in 2028. You know, who knows? I'm not
Yeah,
going to go along one way
Yeah.
anymore.
That's a nice approach. Like
Yeah.
I admire it, Andrew.
I could never vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean,
Never.
and I did.
I think
Yeah.
he is a
I could never do it again.
narcissistic. I
No.
did too.
Mhm.
He's a narcissistic, and it's evil, and it's beyond description.
Oh yeah.
The vulgarity, and for me, all right, it's difficult.
just
for
think
me,
about what would happen
but
to
I would
foreign
rather
policy.
have a Joe Biden president, and then maybe get other leadership around him that would help
or lobby him. He's lobbyable at least.
It's like help him stay awake.
because
I know.
yeah.
At his age.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully in 2028 we can go a little younger in the spectrum, just a little bit. I'd say like
Just a little.
40s or 50-year-old president, you know, and that's I think that'd be solid if we
Well,
can find
Look
one.
back
When you
to
said
JFK
in a-
himself, right? It's not like you have to have an ancient elected official at the top, right? You know, come on.
Guys, was JFK a Republican?
Democrat.
Democrat.
Oh, he was a Democrat. Okay, and
But Rick,
RFK is a
Rick,
Republican.
That doesn't
cannot-
even matter anymore,
you
though.
can't compare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know that was
Kennedy
the
would have been a
legendary.
Republican here 40
Yeah.
years later. I mean,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
no,
Biden would
Here's
be
the
considered a Republican. right now.
exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
he knows-
Literally, like back in the day, right? Back in the day, Biden would be a Republican.
Yeah.
yeah.
You mean the eagle
Here-
like attitude? You mean that actually helped Ukraine those days who were considered a Republican? What do you
It's
think,
close.
guys? Really?
Because
So-
the extremes are moving the
Dude,
the
absolutely.
spectrum.
Are you kidding me?
They're
Yeah,
moving it. So
Democrats
it's like
would never help Ukraine back in the days. Like
No,
it
they
was
would help as
60s.
well. But listen
would
to
help.
me. Listen to me closely. In regard to Ukraine, the reason you have a lot of Republican non-support right now is because they have been poisoned by the Make America Great Again movement, spearheaded by Donald Trump and QAnon trash that came out of the pit of. And I'm telling you right now, if these guys don't get, and it's gonna stick for the world.
I need that for my gaming
I'm glad we
streams,
got you
Greg.
that.
I need that. I need
Yeah,
that.
Oh, I fucking love it. Greg, keep doing it.
Well, it's just the
I'm so
reality,
glad you got
guys.
that
Because, like, I'm telling you, I travel a lot, guys, and I speak in a lot of very big churches with thousands of people in them, and I know thousands of wonderful Christians that are Republican and not only love Ukraine, support it massively financially.
Yeah.
To stand with them. So we can't just throw out blanket statements, but
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can throw this out. MAGA and that horrible movement,
That poison cult.
it poisoned a lot of Republicans that were on the fence looking for truth, and they went down a toilet bowl.
That's what I'm going to spend as we get closer to the election. Street interviews at MAGA events. Actually, like I go to MAGA rallies and talk to people at them, and I'm going to talk to them about Ukraine and ask them questions. And from what I've seen from other street interview creators, as soon as they go in to actually talk to the MAGA people, like you can get them to a place at least, and like Grick did, and plant a seed. And be like about the truth about Ukraine, and maybe your media, because it's Trump too, but it's also the media diet that they have, where they go to like the same 2-3 people that they don't even watch the raw empirical evidence. Like they actually won't even watch C-SPAN just to look at how they vote, right? How the politicians vote on bills. They'll literally just watch Steve Bannon or somebody and listen to their opinions on the situation and take that as if that's like the facts of the situation.
Yeah, that's Moses coming down off the mountain for a while. I'm serious. They don't do any real critical thinking of their own.
So we'll bring the critical thinking to them. I'll bring it.
Yes. No, I agree.
That's
and
right.
I want to go back and I made a big hyperbole with, the joke about lying Republicans and all. I've got plenty of Republican friends, and they're like both of you guys in that they can't stand what happened to their party.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been taken over by the morons. It's no longer a political party, it's a cult. It's a cult of personality for one man.
Yeah,
Completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I think
Guys, I imagined. Sorry, Sek. I just want to bring this now. I imagined. You see, to get critical thinking to them, to really get it, this should be a talking head of Trump himself. So maybe if we create a deep fake of a Trump who just speaks the truth,
AI generated truth Trump.
yes, and constantly launch it like a joke on some YouTube channel. Create a YouTube channel like Trump speaks the truth, and put that deep fake there every day, and let's make it like a global joke, and then people will really start listening to the other Trump. So maybe we can actually drive them from the real one to the fake.
It would actually
Trump.
work too, which is what's crazy. I think that would actually work.
It probably would. Well, and here's the thing. Well, and the crazy. Okay, you guys, you want to hear something crazy? And I know this because I've seen this. YouTube's got this weird double standard with AI generated stuff that's political right now, or just AI generated faces and voices videos in general. Like if you put a regular video up of, say, Donald Trump or Joe Biden or some other important figure, then there's new rules in place that can kind of like, it can get blocked. They track that and all that. But the workaround is, I've seen that if you're willing to pay for YouTube advertising and you're able to get it, I see, AI generated videos of politicians and voices of Trump, obviously not really him speaking. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, they have actually a setting when you set up your streams now. There's like a yes, no. Is this a real thing?
Yeah.
And you have to click yes or no if you're using AI generated stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, let's maybe switch topics from Trump. I know that we're heading to the end of the stream.
I got fire for that. Listen, I'm got that stored still. Like this is nothing compared to when we get closer to election time.
Listen, I have 31 more beeps.
Yeah,
I'm 29 now.
this is nothing. I promise you.
Greg, I thought there when you were beeping yourself that I would gladly come to a service like that if you had a beeper there. Wearing
It was
the
just a
whole
few
thing.
weeks ago. I was preaching and I texted Dick Dawson. I said, Dick, here's the link of where I'm speaking at. And then he messaged and goes, all right, I'm watching the live stream. And I cast a demon right out of him over YouTube. He didn't even know it, but he's set free.
It was awesome funny. It was amazing. He's doing his shtick and he notices I was in the live chat. He takes a look and he calls me right out. It was so awesome. It was great.
Oh, guys,
I didn't see it
It's all
coming.
love, brother. It's
Yeah,
all
it was
love.
good. It was good.
I wanted to ask you, guys and fellow babies, if you know that here in Kyiv and through all Ukraine and actually somewhere around the world too, there's Free Azov rally happening every Sunday. And I'm doing the stream from it. And
Yeah.
Andrew, I would love you to be my co-host on one of them when you come to Ukraine. This would be amazing. This would be like the good old days for you. Of course, there's going to be no police,
Right? No tear
riot,
gas or
and,
flashbangs.
and gas and all of
Being
that.
hit by rubber bullets. Yeah.
But I think it's like your how do you call it?
Protests.
Habitation, you know?
Yeah, that's really what I'm comfortable in. That would be great. Walking
Yeah.
around talking. Well, if you could translate or if English speaking, yeah, because that free the Azovstal is right on Krashatik Street on that building.
Mhm.
I don't know what the name of the building is, but that giant banner that's there.
Yeah.
Where is the protest take place? Is it right there on Krashatik?
Every time different place in Kyiv. Tomorrow it's gonna be on almost the outskirts. I'm gonna spend an hour just driving there.
Which direction, Rick?
Obolon.
Okay.
Mm.
That is out there.
What?
That is the distance from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is the distance for me. So yeah, gonna travel there. Doing this every week, guys. So fellow babies, if you're interested in some real-time rally thing and talking, always trying to get some interviews, sometimes trying not to be sticky because there's a lot of pain in the eyes of many mothers and wives and children also waiting for their loved ones, and it's really hard to be there sometimes when you see all that pain, and if you're empathic you also can feel it.
It's the energy in the area.
Yeah, but guys, we meet so many awesome people there, and rollers can prove it. I always meet some amazing people there because they are active people, and active people are always good. Like, okay, we're not talking about MAGA active people, right?
Right. Protesting and activists that are doing different than a cult thing.
yeah.
They're out
Not
there
MAGA, MUGA.
Yeah, out there for freedom and like trying to get the soldiers back, trying to get the captivity, the soldiers in captivity out of there. So it's a good cause, real good cause.
The only complication with those streams of mine from Free Azov rallies is it's like 3 a.m. your time in US or Canada. So those of you guys who are watching from Europe, you can join. Going to be much easier for you, or not from Europe, maybe from Africa or Asia. It's going to be much easier for you. So join us because we need to grow this movement, because I think this topic is very, very important, and I wouldn't be advertising my stream here if it wasn't that important. But I will also advertise my stream tomorrow, the second one. Because it is also very cool. Why not important? Guys, I'm gonna have kids from a school podcast. They are doing their own podcast in school.
Awesome.
They are 14 years old in average. I actually went to the school, and they actually invited me there. They invite different Ukrainian YouTubers to come there and record a podcast. I went there, and they're amazing. They are grown-ups already, unfortunately, because of war. But they are not 14 years old inside.
It's impressive.
And yeah, I'm gonna have them, but not only them. Together with them, we're gonna have Jack Groot, the Ukrainian. No, he's actually a
cool.
Canadian volunteer
Canadian.
Yeah.
who was an FPV pilot in the 25th Airborne Brigade here in Ukraine. He went back to Canada. He said that probably it's gonna be enough for him, but he says, but you never know. It's, guys, with soldiers, if they say it's their last time, maybe it's not. So
Yeah.
maybe he's going to be coming back just like he did the last time, because he was already coming back to Canada and saying that, no, that's enough for me. But he went there, and he is an amazing speaker. Like, guys, he's Canadian. Look at Dick Dawson.
From Alex Trebek to Dick Dawson to the man we speak of, we just have that,
Yeah, guys. So it should be a very, very interesting stream tomorrow. I'm excited about it. So join in if you have time. And yeah, all of you guys, you're actually welcome to join. I'm talking about you, Dick, about you, Greg, about you,
Thanks, brother.
Andrew, and Commander. And Sekai's going to be there. Sekai, I don't even need to ask you.
I will be there.
Yep, I will be there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rick just drags him around by a leash, so he doesn't have to ask, right?
Come on, no, we don't do the jokes like that. It's disrespectful, guys. This beautiful painting is gonna be raffled tomorrow, somewhere around the Ukrainian midnight, and it looks much better up close, not through the camera. But anyway, somebody touching that, right?
Who painted that?
My friend Alexei, he was actually my colleague. He's from Energodar. It's currently occupied. So you're by buying these paintings or winning them, you're actually mentally supporting another internally displaced person here in Ukraine, just like me. He is waiting for his hometown to be deoccupied. And this day will come. I believe in this. I can be pessimistic some days, I can be realistic some days, but I'm optimistic in general. It will take a lot more effort and blood, but we will get there. Because I think, just like in World War II, the Putler will lose, just like Hitler. It's inevitable. Unfortunately, it's just a matter of now, I think, after 2023 and this part of 2024, it's a matter of how many countries will also be involved in this in the future, because it seems, that there was not enough support for us to withstand. Of course, I think the whole Ukraine won't fall, definitely, but I think Putin might actually start involving some other countries without fully occupying Ukraine now, after last year. And you see he's becoming more daring, like more and more, and provocations are going to be growing. Definitely he is going to be doing more of them with each month and year. So yeah, guys, I really wish that this won't happen, that other countries won't be military involved, right? But it seems that
it's a possibility.
It's a possibility, and not a small one. What do you think, Commander, about this one? I don't know why, but I want to ask you.
I need you to clarify. Do you mean he's going to try more provocations specifically in and against Ukraine, or do you mean globally?
Globally.
Globally, I think he will. Because this has been such an unmitigated disaster for him and Russia, he needs to have something he can hang up in the win column to try to regain his position, his power.
Yeah, to look like the Tiger Rider. Yeah.
Yeah, to look like he's in charge of the oligarchic circle, because that's kind of his threat axis right now.
Yep.
Yeah, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. And actually, I was really annoyed with a random person I met at a coffee shop the other day. which goes to show the attitude some people might have if this happens in the next few years. But once this conflict comes to an end, I wholeheartedly believe Republic of Georgia is at a high level of risk. Because if there's some place that's got a low population, does not have the arms or the geographic favorability to get support from foreign nations, if there's a place that is incredibly vulnerable that, if they wanted to, Russia could attack even now during the Ukraine war, it is Tbilisi, Republic of Georgia.
Wait, Sakai. Why do they need that? They have a pro-Russian government who actually voted for a law that is making them speechless in their country. It's the same law as Russians had. They call it inoagenti, which is like a foreign agents. So every media that speaks against their party, their government, is considered the agent, like foreign agent media, and they can do more repressions against it. So they actually don't need to invade Georgia. Georgia is going to become another Belarus if Georgian people won't overthrow that government.
I think it's more likely. I think it's more likely they will use Georgia as a proxy to initiate attacks on others.
So for me, we're talking about something that might happen in the future, but I'm kind of seeing it like right now. I mean, Russia's been using Iranian Shahed drones. They've been using North Korean shells. I mean, maybe the soldiers aren't there yet, like North Korean soldiers, Iranian soldiers, but I mean, and they've been. I feel like Russia's already started their divide and conquer outside of Ukraine. Like we're living within it. We're just not. It's not like thrown in our face. Like, okay, here's Putin doing it now, but I feel like it's happening in the background, like right now.
Actually, what Putin needs to do, Dick, what Putin needs to do, he needs to put more leaders like Orban or Fico in European countries, and he doesn't need to invade those countries. They will become a part of that united, state. Yes. So they will just join their new Soviet Union willingly. So he is placing a big bet on just putting some fascists into elections, not into elections, but as a result of elections to the governments of European countries.
And the U.S. too, and they interfere with our elections every time. No.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good. That was what I was going to say. It was not Europe, but the United States.
Here's the thing. I think. Yeah, and I was going to say, and I think it's actually twofold. I think there. Oh, do we have a delay?
Yeah, you got a little latency there, but go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say that I think that in the case of places like Belarus and Georgia and maybe even Moldova, I think the Russians want to install someone there who's more pro-Russian than the current government in Chisinau. Like they want to set it up to where they could somehow get those, directly allied with them politically or even militarily. But then in the case of stuff like Slovakia and Hungary, no, they want them to stay in NATO and the EU, because then they can be the puppets who throw wrenches and ruin plans that have to be unanimous in those organizations. So it's like, we want to be friends with you, but also stay over there and mess everything up.
That's the plan, definitely.
Yeah. Let me get a couple of super chat shout outs and stuff caught up, and then we'll go around the table with final thoughts and whatnot. I can't push the length of the show much further today than where we're at. Okay, so a couple of direct boom boom funds here. Use the Force from YOLO Swaggin. Slava Ukraini, 25 direct donation there. And then we also had Kobe Jack. Here's another 50. Thanks for a great stream. Into the Boom Boom Fund it goes. Thanks, Kobe Jack. I'm caught up there. I just have to switch over to this room. I'm narrating what I'm doing again. Okay, here we go. Jean-Marc Paganel. Mercado is on NAFO 10. How many for Rick and others? trucks. This was about the trucks and whatnot, right?
We're technically on our 12th because we did 2 dog tag campaigns before the patches really released. Because they did dog tags first, because that's how long we've been doing. We've been doing it since it kind of started.
Right.
Dog tags, and then they do the patches. So it's 12 trucks now. This is our 13th, actually. 13th.
Awesome. Yep. Awesome. And as soon as Rick's back, we'll get numbers there. Miriam threw in a 50 New Zealand super chat for the truck. Big thanks, Miriam. Huge thanks. Liam Wakefield there, throwing in popping by to say hi. I am proud to support you guys. Hey, thanks, Liam. Liam's got Lemur on Discord, so that's how you can keep track of them. You people and your double names. How many names do you need? Come on. Rotomax came in with a $30 super chat there. Great to see all of you together. Here's some for the fund you choose. Slava Ukraini. NATO fund it is. Thank you. And then War Russia Ukraine came in with a €30 super chat. And he called out Rotomax and said, my currency beats yours, with a little winky face. So it's just snarky humor. Everybody's good. Tanya Kangas came in. Welcome to Shill Apprentice. And then Jean-Marc Paganal came in again. Maidan in Georgia. Right, because remember there was I screwed up the word earlier when we were giving shout outs there, right?
Maidan.
Yeah. So yes,
Maidan Revolution in Tbilisi. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's actually hope they won't suppress it like in Belarus, because I think they are ready to even kill people for that. So let's hope they will fight like Ukrainians did in 2014.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, though. In Belarus, not only their own security services, but Russian security services oversight and strategy and planning was present. Georgia does have a lot of issues and repression, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see if the Georgian Dream could pull something like that off. I don't know if they're competent enough.
Let's see, and let's hope that democracy and freedom will win, because there's a big chance that they're just going to become another Belarus.
Yeah. Spider Faint had gifted out a Shills membership. Thank you very much. Minsk became a new member. So welcome to the family. And Linda H is gifting out memberships as well. So thanks everybody. And I think we're caught up. So let's just spin around the room and get everybody's thoughts before we throw it in the bag and call this one done. I'm going to go from bottom up. So Greg Terry, let's start with yourself, buddy.
Well, thank you, Dick, as always, and thanks to the wonderful panel. We had Prof in here earlier. We had Starsky in here earlier. Of course, our host, Dickie Dawson, Commander McMillan, Andrew Mercado, Secular Sakai, and Rick the Ukrainian. It's been an awesome panel, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And great conversation. We had some fun. We've helped people. I'm been reading the chat nonstop. We've even helped people do landscaping on their walls while they're listening to us and all kind of crazy things. So it's really good. But the beautiful thing is I saw somebody's chat in there that said, this is just amazing how people from all around the world can come together and just support and have like-mindedness. And I agree with that. So the final thing I would say as well is happy Mother's Day to all of you guys. And in listening to all of you give the analysis, which I do not disagree with. Here's all I will say in regard to other nations, Moldova, Georgia, et cetera, et cetera. Do not allow those to be distractions from what is happening in Ukraine.
Good
because Ukraine, Rick can attest to this. I read everything in Ukrainian or the Russian because it comes out in both, but more Russian. Just pay attention to what you're seeing. When you hear the ground commander Pavluk saying, okay, all along the front line, it's the worst we've seen it as far as the escalation, and the weapons have to get there now, and the mobilization has to be fixed now. And then you hear him say, we will deal with the Chasiv Yar situation separately. And then in Zelensky last night talking about Chasiv Yar, saying, okay, that's a separate issue. When you begin to see things like that, don't draw conclusions immediately, but just pay attention to it. We're going to be hearing much more about Chasiv Yar. I already know from talking to guys there every day over the next coming couple of weeks. And as we look for other hot places in the world, let's not remember that our focus is to keep this heat and pressure on supporting Ukraine at the maximum, not minimizing what's happening other places, but don't let that become a distraction. So
that's right. Yeah. Great words, Greg. Great words indeed. Rick, what do you think, buddy?
Yeah, actually, this year we cannot even allow ourselves or afford to talk about the occupation. We are talking just about stopping Russians where they are at some point, because they've actually become a much more powerful force in the last year. Like, remember the spring last year? We were just like, haha, there's going to be a big counteroffensive and everyone's going to be smashed. Russia's going to be smashed. This year, it's totally opposite. And unfortunately, this is also a result of Russia's work in US and around the world. And our partners in Europe, unfortunately, also, I won't say failed us, but they needed to do a better job, because it's not about it's about time, guys. It's about speed, and Russians are currently having a bigger speed. They currently outpace us, and that can become a tragedy. Let's not actually, it's in our hands, because you guys influence your governments. If you live in a democratic country, I know that some of you who's in the chat, maybe from I'm not sure, guys. Do we have someone who's not from democratic country who has a tyrant? Do we have people from China in the chat? Because I know someone was donating to Greg's even from China and from Eritrea, right?
We've had 3 Russian donations, bro.
Yeah, man.
Against their own
Russia.
army. So.
There's been some Russian donations for sure. Oh yeah.
But those of you who lives in democratic country, it all depends on you, and also fighting the propaganda. And you guys, for every pro-Russian rally in your country, you can make a I was about to say, actually pro-Ukrainian, but pro-your country rally, because those who want to become presidents and prime ministers in your country, they those who are against Ukraine, they're 99.9% working for Russia. So Russia actually wants them to come to power in your country, and the only way to counter that is actually go on the street and counter protest those pro-Russian protesters. So that's the only way, going there on the street and showing that what they try to present, what Russia tries to present as the movement of the global movement of the people, is not the majority. You need to become the majority. That's how it happened in Odessa in 2014, where pro-Russian protesters were stopped by outnumbering Ukrainian protest. That's how it happened. This is the only way. So when you're going to see that your country is at risk of being captured by pro-Russian government, you need to go there on the street and actually counter-protest it and show that you're the majority there in your country. Please do that. So that's my last message for today. Thank you, guys. This was an amazing show. I always love it to be here. And Dick, you're coming to Ukraine this year. I'm sure of it. I see it's been planted properly.
Yeah. I'm properly thinking about this in real terms now. So definitely that was good thinking. It was
well, I've cast the demons out of you, and now Rick's giving you a prophetic word. You're basically a charismatic Christian, Dick. Let's go.
Awesome. Let's turn to Secular Sakai here. What do you think, buddy? Oh, is he there?
Yeah, I just want to say, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Oh, Just want to say, yeah, thank you once again, everyone, for being here. We do need to do a lot more, and you know, it's all interconnected. We need to have more boots on the ground at protests in support of Ukraine. We need to get more people who are connected with business and political, I won't say class, but connected individuals, you know, to realize the importance of assisting Ukraine in countries around the world. We really do need to join together from a grassroots international level and get as strong a network together as possible, because this war is continuing. It's still going to be raging on for a little while. And even when this war is over, it's not really over, as we've seen. This will roll into something else that I am 100% sure of, and giving Ukraine everything it needs to defend itself, which Ukrainians have 100%, first of all, just inherently deserve, in my opinion, defending their country from an evil invader. And second of all, have more than proven that they deserve and have earned. It's crucial. So thank you for being here. Also, I'll make a quick shameless plug. This morning, I had a complete power outage. So the stream at the usual time on Tridents Against Tyrants was not, it cut. So here in like 30 minutes or so, I'm going to have a stream. So feel free to join. We're continuing to fundraise for the 110th Mechanized Brigade, and I'd love to see y'all there. All right.
Awesome. Here, I'll put the link in the chat right now. Cool. So, Commander McMillan, what do you think there, buddy?
A lot of really good discussion today. I thought we covered some very meaningful stuff, so I'm glad we did that. My usual closing comment, you know, please contact your elected officials at the state and federal level and push them to continue to support Ukraine. Just because we recently passed an aid package doesn't mean that more pressure shouldn't be brought to make sure that that aid continues and we don't have another idiotic 6-month gap of, oh, well, we don't need to support them anymore. It needs to be constant. So please keep the pressure on, folks. Thanks.
Good shout, man. Good shout. What do you think there, Andrew? Thoughts and wrap-ups, buddy?
Yeah, I agree there. Don't inject hopium and your own truth about Ukraine. I mean, yeah, you support Ukraine. I'm talking to like maybe you have a platform, people listening. You at this point, after 2 years, it's not about you questioning about victory. You believe in victory now, so you don't have to convince people that anymore. That was like 2022 time. People were wondering, man, you know, you're criticizing Ukraine. Are you pro-Russian? Are you pro? At this point, like you're here still. You support Ukraine, so reporting on the truth is what's needed. Because, like Commander said, if you report that everything's all great, and most of the front is stable, but it's still like, you know, you got to be honest about the situation, because then you could hurt Ukraine's fundraising. You could hurt future bills, because if you tell the American people or Europeans that it's all good, Ukraine's winning, they're destroying everything, and it's like, you know, there's a time for that when it happens, but you got to talk about the truth of the situation so Ukraine can continue to get what they need. Because if it's all gravy, then people are going to start shifting their attention to other things and going all other places. But then I go back to what Sakai said. And I talked about this to my chat like 2 days ago. No, it was like 3 days ago. And a lot of my chat were anti-protest for some reason. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, how are you watching a Ukraine stream and you're anti-protest? But I feel like people in the United States, maybe that have been watching my streams, have seen like riots and like tear gas and shit. But I mean, right on. But at the same time, like, it's very important to be active. Like, yeah, support the fundraisers, but like maybe try to find a rally or something where people are with Ukraine signs and like the flag, and they're lobbying the government or something to try to get more funds to Ukraine. Get involved with Razom for Ukraine. That's a really good organization that lobbies in Washington, D.C. And they have events. You can go, just like on the NATO convoys or whatever. You can sign up and go with Razom to Washington, D.C. Wear nice clothes, like, because you're going to the government, and you can stand right in front of your elected officials or their aides at least, and tell them why it's important to support Ukraine with these events. So, and you can do that as a regular person. You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to get an approval letter. You can go as just a regular old American that pays taxes, or a Canadian, or wherever you're at.
Exactly.
So stay involved. Don't take the pressure off. don't take your gas off the pedal now, and let's continue going and supporting Ukraine. Let's make Ukraine great again. Let's go. It's always great. It's always great, but let's make it great in the news, in the current events, and what people are talking about.
Yeah. You gotta keep the narrative where it belongs, right? Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Quick shout out again to Ryan for that huge super chat earlier in the show. Thank you very much there. Let me bring this up quick. Little update on the NATO campaign. 13,153 euros. I just threw in a like $307 Canadian or whatever there from the PayPal that's already come through, and it just hasn't updated quite yet. So the number's a little better. We're getting there, people. We're getting there. Everybody helping and contributing. We love you for it because, you know, these kind of things actually matter. We're trying our best here, right? Remember, again, like was already said, Commander McMillan said it great, but you've got to, you know, and Mercado there really followed it up, but you've got to keep on these elected officials. You've got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. You know, there's no time to relax because one aid bill passed. We need the next one and the next one and the next one, right? So huge thanks to everybody for showing up and watching us today and joining in the live chat and stuff. And a huge thanks to our team who in the background make this way possible. Like without the moderators and the research team and CF Beauty's team in the background helping us, this would not go like it does. So CF Beauty, she runs the teams. We got BME, Shayna Caldwell, Crazy Cat, and Liam Wakefield on our big thanks list today. So thank you guys, huge. And last one in, Tyler Dowdy, $10 super chat for the NATO truck. In the fund it goes. Thanks everybody for joining us, and remember 2 words that you always got to make sure everybody's saying: Slava Ukraini.
Heroyam Slava.
Heroyam Slava.
Well said, guys. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Let's get out of here. Good night.
Live on and prosper. Bye,
Good night.
guys.
Bye.
Boom.
It's over. Go home. Go.